as we were talking about up top with all of the crazy stuff that's been going on, we started off talking about the midterms. We moved into Twitter, and yeah, like I said, he actually did it. He went and started selling the verification check marks for $8, and so far it's going just as badly as everyone predicted that it might go. Verified impersonators have made a mess out of Twitter's $8 blue check marks. Twitter has now blocked newly made accounts from subscribing to Twitter Blue and it moved to stimmy spam on the platform. So yeah, this was one of the things that I saw on my feed yesterday. I mean, I've seen a lot. Nintendo of America with the little blue check mark on it and Mario flipping the bird. Twitter owner Elon Musk seems to be taking the Silicon Valley adage of move fast and break things to a new level of speed and destruction. The drama has been most apparent in the platform's paid verification system that rolled out this past week and has already proved a massive headache for Twitter and an all-out shit show for regular users. After first announcing plans for an $8 verification system, Twitter has gone through a whirlwind of multiple renditions of the system before arriving at its current incarnation. Just this week, Twitter tried adding a gray official check mark for certain government officials, media, and major brands before quickly pulling the feature. I think I may have seen that in the wild like once. Twitter is offering government officials and major brands a free but confusing official gray check mark. This is a design nightmare. A check mark and then another check mark, and you have three layers of text, of varying size and weight. You have a check mark on the right and a check mark on the left. Like, there's all sorts of stuff going on here. I guess what's happening is a very appropriate little bio here for this design mess. In the latest version of verification, everybody gets a blue check mark, but if you click on the icon in each Twitter profile, it will either say whether they were verified because they are a public identity or if they coughed up cash for the privilege. Now, if ever you have a question on whether or not a verified account is legit verified or if it's faux verified, click on the profile and then where it has that check mark, click on the check mark and it'll tell you one way or another, which, it's a little cumbersome, but the cool thing is, though, there actually is somebody out there who created a Chrome extension, and the Chrome extension will tell you right in your Twitter feed whether the check mark you're seeing is an official one or if it's a paid for check mark. It's actually kind of funny and kind of cool the way that it's displayed. They'll probably mention it here, but if not, then I'll bring it up. At first, announcing plan $8 again, Twitter's gone through. Okay. With the documents showing recent layoffs have taken chunks of Twitter's engineering capacity, these constant changes and updates to existing systems must be exhausting for those who still remain at the company. Yes, we will also talk about the massive layoffs that have been occurring, really not just at Twitter, but all across the tech industry. As a reminder, verified accounts were originally introduced to stop users from impersonating public figures. The platform had already been sued for facilitating these fakes, so Musk has to walk a fine line between monetizing the blue checkmark while claiming the site is safe for public figures, and most importantly, advertisers. If only they can get Musk himself to take the situation a bit more seriously. Yeah, this dude isn't taking it seriously at all. A verified Mario gave everyone the middle finger, and President Biden is talking about sucking his own penis, and then Elon Musk's response to that was just laughter. And it's like, dude, he's trying to blame activists for advertisers fleeing the platform, while meanwhile he's just laughing at, and granted, this is like probably on the lighter side of these impersonation offenses, but there was a person that tweeted a response to this when it was first announced that he was planning on selling off these verifications. There was a journalist, I think he was a journalist, who talked about how at some point in the past he wasn't really on Twitter. He wasn't on Twitter, but somebody had impersonated him on Twitter, and they were using his name on Twitter, pretending to be him to like talk to kids and whatnot, like to like groom kids. And he had to go through a lot of shit to like clear his name and get that guy off of the platform and whatnot. And he was talking about how the verification system is put into place to protect from things like that. So like a lot of these butthurt conservatives think that the check mark is like some status symbol, like, oh, look at these elites with their check mark and they think they're so special. And maybe there's some truth to that, but the existence for them isn't to make somebody a lord over the plebeians of Twitter. It was because there were people that were abusing Twitter's platform to try to scam people, or worse, hurt people, traffic people even. And the verification system did an excellent job at curtailing a large swath of that. Yeah, that's the whole purpose of it. It had nothing to do with like status or prestige or anything like that. The idea that you would sell it for $8 just, well, it underscores the fact that this dude's just a fucking narcissist, but it also just underscores the fact that he completely has no understanding of the platform he just spent $44 billion purchasing. Zero understanding of it. It's starting to unfurl in the way that people were afraid that it was going to, both, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on, what outcome you're ultimately rooting for here. Those who purchase the blue checkmark show they have an active subscription to Twitter Blue, but their tweets also now show up in Twitter's new verified section on Twitter's notifications. Oh man, I've seen some gnarly shit from newly acquired checkmarks, man, that there's a whole section dedicated to those dudes. That must be an absolute dumpster fire of a section. The paid blue checkmark is currently unavailable to Android or Twitter.com users, but anybody who pays up can bookmark folders, add themes, and undo tweets, among other features. This system has obvious drawbacks, especially because it's not clear at first glance which accounts were previously verified before Musk came on and which ones were bot. Yeah, that's the problem. Like, I've already seen tweets where, someone with a check mark would say something very official sounding. And then I look at the comments and people are responding to it like, oh, they're responding to it like, oh, this is official shit. One of them was like a fake Adam Schefter. It was like, I think the Twitter was like at Adam Schefter not or something like that. But it had his face and it had the check mark. And the tweets that he was posting looked like Adam Schefter tweets. He posted like, Odell Beckham Jr. signs to the Cowboys and blah blah blah, and people were responding to it like, oh wow, this is news and blah blah blah, or I forget the other one he posted several, posing as Adam Schefter, and just people were oblivious. They saw Adam Schefter's name, they saw a check mark, and it was like, oh okay, so this must be for real, and it's like, you gotta do all of this other work to drill into the profile, click on the thing, and then actually read whether or not it was legitimate verification or a paid verification, which is why that extension is actually pretty cool. Because in that extension, you just see it right on the right on your feed, and and that here it is right here. Two Twitter users, Will Seeger and Walter Lim, have created a Chrome extension called $8 that will modify the Twitter verification to make it immediately apparent who was officially verified and who paid for their check mark. Meanwhile, there are also lingering accounts on Twitter that have been routinely cited for hate and attack campaigns that have purchased their way to a blue checkmark. As of reporting, many renowned ultra-right-wing Twitter accounts remain up and verified, although some have been hid with warning that this profile may include potentially sensitive content. These accounts are especially dangerous as the verification may make their message gain even more attention. Yeah, I mean, let's take a look at their curated list of fake verified tweets. Here's one from Elon Musk, apparently, with the check mark. Now, this was also a thing that popped off immediately. Immediately, there were a bunch of people that changed their name to Elon Musk with the little blue check mark and his picture of some sort, and just started saying like wild shit. Starting today, we'll be offering Twitter Gold, a free subscription that gets you yearly family vacations and nightly dinners with me. If your name is Grimes, please come back. I love you. Yeah, victim of divorce court. Pretty brutal one right there. This one, a fake one posing as Twitter's official one. You can see at the @ it's definitely not Twitter. But Whoa, Twitter Blue is now available for free. Crypto NFT holders can now get Twitter Blue for free by authenticating their wallet assets. Authenticate now, twitter-blue.com. P.S. There might be a little surprise after authenticating. Bird NFT? Like, that's just straight up scam. Like, you're just purposely trying to scam people on that one. This is amongst my favorites. George W. Bush. George W. Bush with an S at the end. I miss killing Iraqis, sad face. And then the response, because apparently people popped off on that one. Y'all are missing the point. Let me actually expand it so I can read the whole response. Y'all are missing the point about the $8. It's a small price to pay. It's a small price to make this app completely unusable, and I'm assuming he is going to quickly learn we can get refunds from the credit cards we use if he suspends us prior to a month. Is what I would say if I was someone other than the greatest president America has ever known. Is what I would say. Yeah, that's actually a pretty interesting wrinkle there. Like, yeah, he can clap people, you know, for doing out-of-pocket shit like this, but he has to wait a month. He has to wait a month to do it if he wants to keep their money. If he claps them within that month, then they can get their money back, which, in his view, defeats the purpose of this whole venture. Like, he's trying to suck up as much money as possible. But if he lets these people run wild like this for a month, what's that going to do to advertisers? Like, what is that going to do to the people he's trying to persuade? Like, hey, things are fine on the platform. Moderation is well in hand. And by the way, like, no, it's not. It actually came out earlier today that the executive, like one of the executives of moderation and some other executives for content resigned. And they're positing that the news of Elon Musk saying that remote is no longer an option was meant to get more headlines to bury the fact that the content moderator executive resigned. Because again, he's still trying to persuade advertisers that his site is okay for them to advertise on. But if he's got to let these people run wild for a month before he can yeet them off the platform and keep their money, then there's no way advertisers are going to sit around and hang around with this. Literally rocking a hard spot. He's between Iraq and a hard spot. It's like this now. I'm sure advertisers will stick around. Yeah, this is Mario flipping him off. This dude says Mario would never do that. And then the fake Nintendo account replied again, well, he did. So, you know, Nintendo's a target. The Pope got in on it. Pope Francis. As the apostle tells us in 2 Corinthians 11:14, the wicked may pose as the righteous and lay snares to trap the unwary. Social media has worsened this phenomenon. Our blessed store is the only authorized source for indulgence. Indulgence at $8 a month, link in bio. Martin Luther, I got 95 theses, but this shit ain't it, chief. Pope John Paul I. Interesting that none of you are talking about how I was murdered by the mafia and Vatican Bank. Maybe Google Gladio and open your third eye. So yeah, like obviously this is way more. I mean, I don't know who's gonna read this and be like, oh, Pope Francis, but still. Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh won't stop calling me and talking about genitalia. President Biden, I'm over here stroking my dick. I got lotion on my dick right now. Oh boy. And another two success stories. OJ. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I did that shit. And then Dave Chappelle, trans women are women, no longer Team Turf, y'all. Which, hilarious. There's actually talk of SNL writers planning to walk out if Dave Chappelle is allowed to continue to host SNL. I think he's supposed to host SNL in the next week or so or whenever. And the SNL writers are kind of revolting against that. But you know what? They just didn't see his tweet. Those SNL writers just need to see this tweet from, obviously, real Dave Chappelle. It's right there, at real Chappelle. You know, read his tweet. They'll figure it out. They'll be like, oh, okay. He apologized. He's on the right side now. We can welcome him. Just read the tweet, SNL. Nancy Pelosi and I do not agree on many things, but them thanks thang, and I'll tell you what. Oh, God. I mean, if any of you have seen that picture of Nancy Pelosi, then you understand that Rudy Giuliani is not technically wrong there. And things are thangin' for an 80-year-old woman. Libs of TikTok has a check mark. Libs of TikTok, very famous for their stochastic terroristic efforts to bomb fucking hospitals that provide services to trans kids. Just, regular chill-ass people. There have also been multiple accounts that weren't previously verified that have bought their way into the lords of blue check marks. Libs of TikTok, a high-profile right-wing harassment group that's often cited by the likes of the Daily Caller and Fox News, bought its verification and now stands proud in the echelons of other actual legitimate news operations. Libs of TikTok is a major force in right-wing circles that's still shaping the conservative narrative around transgender people and other LGBTQ folks, as well as drag performers. Similarly, the account's Gays Against Groomers, which is also working against the trans community by spreading misinformation, has also been verified under the new $8 system. So yeah, just a couple of cool-ass, regular, not at all problematic entities, getting official verifications. So yeah, that's been what's going on. And obviously, Twitter has been encountering some pretty crazy issues as of late. It seems like almost every day Elon Musk is coming out and saying something new about the operation. He mentioned that going bankrupt is a distinct possibility for Twitter if they don't reach a certain amount of revenue, I guess, within the next year. Don't know how accurate that is, but I'm willing to believe it. This one from Fortune magazine. Musk has lost credibility after his boy who cried wolf moment, dumping $4 billion in Tesla stock in the latest Twitter crisis or Twitter circus show. In the latest Twitter circus show move, says tech analyst. So yeah, he also just unloaded $4 billion worth of Tesla stock too. And Tesla stock is tanking. That's another story that's on the docket here. Elon Musk has Tesla investors fuming over his decision to unload $4 billion worth of stock onto an unsuspecting market, with key supporters warning the entrepreneur's own credibility is now on the line. I don't understand how he has any credibility at all, to be perfectly honest, but hey, whatever credibility he has, it's definitely on the line now. Wedbush Securities tech analyst and longtime Tesla bull Dan Ives complained on Wednesday that Musk threw investors a curveball and called the CEO the boy who cried wolf for claiming on numerous occasions, most recently in August, he was done selling stock. It's a kick in the teeth for those who bought shares last month following his grand vision that Tesla would one day be worth more than Apple and Saudi energy giant Aramco combined. Why do people still believe Elon Musk's lies? I mean, at this point, when he makes a grand proclamation, your initial response should just be, okay, that's bullshit. Like, even before you do any vetting of his proclamation, like, your knee-jerk reaction to it should be, okay, this is bullshit. Like the Hyperloop or going to Mars or fucking any other crazy-ass promise. Cybertruck still isn't even out yet. And at least Tesla has, like, some record of being able to produce a product that they could put on the market to sell. So I'll give them that much. But, the grand promises, man, just... If he was a legitimate business person, he would stop making these grand proclamations. He would just let the business function. That's what you do. You let your business function, and when you are on track to actually develop something of consequence, and you have all of your ducks in a row to actually get that development done, then you can make your proclamations. Once the ball's already rolling on it, then you can make your proclamations. But this dude just fucking pops off from the hip without knowing whether anything he's talking about is doable or not. And sometimes he just straight lies. Like, this is very obviously a lie. Claiming, well, actually, I don't know if it was a lie. I'm pretty sure that when he made this claim in August, he thought that there was probably a way for him to worm out of owning Tesla or buying Tesla. And once it came to pass that worming out of Tesla ownership wasn't in the cards for him, then selling off all that stock was maybe a necessity. As if that wasn't enough, he also held out the promise of a sizable stock buyback next year during the Q3 earnings call. Ives has been critical of the Twitter deal, calling it one of the most overpaid in the tech sector's history. The confirmation of his fears that Musk wasn't done secretly dumping stock proved what a never-ending Twitter albatross Tesla shareholders had around their collective necks, he argued. The Twitter circus show has been an absolute debacle from all angles since Musk bought the platform, wrote the Red Bush analyst. When does it end? It ends when Twitter completely collapses in on itself. And when that happens, Tesla completely collapses in on itself. And then subsequently SpaceX and the Boring Company and any other entity that he might own, because it's all tied together. So yeah, it's bad news for any of these dudes who have nothing to do with Twitter that Elon Musk is now on the hook to try to make Twitter solvent. Musk's more trusting supporters felt it was safe to assume he had raised all the money he needed to buy Twitter since no SEC filings to the contrary emerged in recent days. Turns out Elon was not done selling his Tesla stock. Loop Fund's managing partner Gene Munster wrote rather meekly late on Tuesday. The Tesla bull argued that he's preparing for Twitter to be a money hole for the next year. Yeah, it's going to be a money hole probably for more than the next year. Many who have been paying attention anticipated Musk would be looking for any opportunity to sell into strength. The Tesla CEO could only sell shares after the company published its full quarterly results, giving him little time to raise the billions he still needed for Twitter. Twitter madness needs to end now. The good news about the stock sell for Tesla shareholders is twofold. First, Musk didn't need to reveal his sale yesterday. SEC rules allowed him to hold off longer with the announcement for another 2 days. The fact he didn't suggests he may well be telegraphing to investors he is through, for the immediate future at least. Second, and more important, the fundamentals of the company appear to remain solid, unlike what is often the case when insiders sell. Oh yeah, I'm sure the fundamentals of Tesla are solid. He just needs money for Twitter. He's cannibalizing one company to try to resuscitate the other, which, it would be probably a wiser strategy if he wasn't committed to adapting business strategies for Twitter that's completely contrary to how social media operates. If he's going to continue to allow, an environment with which advertisers are not going to want to, advertise on the platform, and he definitely isn't going to get a sustained amount of revenue from $8 checkmark people. People are going to have those check marks for maybe a month or two, and then they're gonna kill them, and a lot of people just aren't going to get them to begin with. So once 3 months out from now, things could be incredibly bleak for Twitter, and I don't see how they're going to come up with a way to get the kind of revenue they need within a year other than with him cannibalizing Tesla. Vehicle sales continue to soar, increasing at a forecast 50% annual rate, even as operating expenses remain firmly rooted to the floor. Next year, Musk believes he could achieve a similar rate of growth to hit roughly 2 million cars sold. Somewhat believable, but I don't know. We'll have to see. Tesla cars are pretty expensive. I saw a figure where they compared Tesla cells to Toyota cells. They were talking about units sold and revenue. And even though Tesla had more revenue from their cells than Toyota, Tesla only sold 319,000 units, whereas Toyota sold 1.2 million units or something like that. And I mean, that indicates two things. One, Tesla is not selling at volume nearly to the rate that, the other major manufacturers are. But two, they're also selling hyperinflated cars at hyperinflated prices, which, they can afford to do because of the Tesla brand. The Tesla brand allows them to be able to sell their cars at a premium. To their credit, for EVs, they're still relatively affordable compared to a lot of other EV options out there, although that's quickly no longer becoming the case. But that brand itself is going to take some damage. That brand itself is going to be taking some damage. So, it remains to be seen whether or not this Twitter debacle and everything else is going to have some impact on the Tesla brand. Will people still want to buy a Tesla when they can get really good options elsewhere. And in this article here that I have later down the pike, we'll talk about some of those other options that are popping up too. Some up and comers in the EV realm that are reporting some pretty decent numbers. But, you know, from 300,000 to 2 million, I mean, that's a huge hike. That's a huge hike in units pushed. I don't know if Tesla can come there that close realistically. I think Chevy or something has a rad electric car that doesn't look like an egg. But I mean, that's the cool thing though. It's like more and more EVs are starting to look like regular cars. And when you have that, like when EVs look like regular cars and they're priced somewhat similar to regular cars, then you're going to get more people buying EVs for certain if the option's available for them. So it's definitely a good time to at least start investigating the EV market if you're looking to purchase a car. Used to be your only option was a Tesla. You know, you're going to have to drop 40 grand on a Tesla or something. But even Teslas now, if you can get some used Teslas for cheaper if you want to get a used Tesla. Their new ones are relatively cheaper to what they used to be when they dropped, but there's so much more competition around them too. Like, yeah, you do have your more egg-like vehicles like a Nissan Leaf or the weird-shaped Econo EVs, but you also do just have like straight-up regular sedan-type EVs out there too. And soon trucks like the Ford Lightning F-150 EV pickup, you know, the Rivian. The Rivian is more on the expensive side. I think the F-150 Lightning is like 45 grand and like the Rivian is 60 to 70 grand. So, you know, if you're looking to spend the money, then, you know, for a truck, you do have at least two options that are available on the market. Neither of them the Cybertruck. So it's a pretty good options out there right now, which is like speaks more to my point about Tesla's brand. Like, what is the Tesla brand going to mean when you have all of these other options from all of these other established brands, and Tesla's name is being dragged through the mud by this clown? I'm still pissed, sad, disappointed that VW hasn't done the van. Oh, like an EV version of that old Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine type van? That's kind of weird that they haven't. You know, that's actually something. There was a let's see if I can find it. There was a cool concept art done of like old school Hyundais that were done EV. Resto Mod treatment elevates 1980s Hyundai Grandeur to a new level. Like this old style looking car with like the headlights are like LEDs too. Can I not zoom in? Why is it all tiny and shit? But yeah, I really do like. I've come around on the old retro boxy look. I used to not like it, but now I'm a big fan. Like, I love this, how the taillights have these little squares. I love the trim, the little chrome trim. I like that whole old school hubcap. Like, this is a really cool look. And this one too, the one next to is also a EV retro. Love that interior. Like, this is like the old school. It just makes me think of, for whatever reason, it makes me think of like New York in the 80s for some reason. But I'm a fan of it. I wish that this was just like a concept, but I wish they actually made this like a production model vehicle. I would absolutely love to have something like this. But I think that there is interest. I think that there could be legitimate interest in that sort of thing. Currently being made. Also check the Polestar 2. That's what my buddy Renta is rad too. I've seen the Polestar ones. The Polestar ones look awesome too, but those are also prohibitively expensive. The Polestars are still on the higher end there, so they're not like, you know, they're not quite mass market vehicles just yet. But I watch or I used to, I guess it's been a while. Occasionally I watch Doug DeMuro's car reviews, and he's done a lot of reviews on like the Polestars and its competitors, and you know, it looks sweet. It looks awesome. Like, if I had the money, I definitely would get one, but you know, that's always the rub in these things. Like, these EVs are still very expensive. I haven't seen the that VW version. I hate that. Okay, so that wasn't the one. Okay. I didn't hate it, but I wasn't super enthused by it. Oh man, once again, Streamlabs fucks me. I've been getting YouTube chats that I just haven't been seeing. Hello, Gabriel. I don't know if any of you guys are still in here. Gabriella, Isaac, what's up, Devin? Brian, yo. We have a gigafactory here in Reno. I'd never work there though. The volt is way better. Once the price and reliability comes down, it'll change things. Better range. Or yeah, I agree with that. But and again, I'm sorry that I missed all of your chats for whatever reason. They weren't showing up on my stream, on my thing. God, what is going on here? If you are still here, though, I agree with you. And another thing that also kind of weirds me out about the EVs is that there's just not enough charging stations. So it's not quite as ubiquitous as like going down the street to a gas station and then just like putting the pump in your car and waiting a couple of seconds and then you're all fueled up. Like for starters, you got to find a place. You got to find a place to be able to plug into. Once you find a place, you got to wait for like at least 15, 20, 30 minutes in order to get a good charge out of it. So it's like, well, what are you going to do then? It's not like, oh, I got to run to the store, pick up some things. Oh, I'm out of gas. Let me get some gas real quick. Then I'll go pick up things. No, you got to like completely plan a day around just charging up your car. So like the two things I think needs to happen in order for EVs to really become what they need to be. One, you need to have charging stations as ubiquitous as gas stations. They just need to be everywhere. Don't know how you do that, but you need to put them everywhere. Put them at all the gas stations, you know, mandate that every gas station has to have at least a certain number of EV plugs. And two, you have to have like super fast charging capability. Don't know how safe that would be. Don't know if we could get there, but it has to at least take, you know, maximum of like 5 minutes. You know, plug it in, hang out for 5 minutes, and then after 5 minutes, you're all fully charged up and you can go. That's still longer than, you know, what it would take to put physical fuel into your tank, but it's not 30 minutes. Like 30 minutes is prohibitive. It's time prohibitive. You know, and I know they're like, oh, well, you can get a plug at your house and charge it at your house overnight. Sure. But if you also want to sell these things as like long distance vehicles, like I'm going to drive from, you know, one state to the next or whatever. And we're going to have charging ports so that you can, you know, charge your car on your trip. You're not going to want to fucking pull off on some random charging station, God knows where, and then hang out there for 30, 40 minutes. You know, especially like if you're trying to get somewhere, you know, under a certain amount of time. So yeah, like those are the things that are going to have happen for EVs to really come on. Anyways, for bulls waiting on the sidelines with spare cash that can still be deployed, picking up shares at a 52-week low is a relative bargain, assuming the Twitter deal doesn't prove too distracting. I guess that's true. Like if you are of the mind to buy low and sell high, then yeah, that would be the time to buy low. If you think that Elon Musk is the genius he wants you to believe he is and can actually turn it around. If not, then you're taking a giant risk there. Still, Ives, who has an outperform rating and $300 price target on Tesla, warned investor faith is not something Musk should take lightly, let alone squander needlessly on Twitter. Musk needs to look in the mirror and end this constant merry-go-round of Twitter hanging on the Tesla story. The Wedbush securities analyst concluded, this Twitter madness needs to end now. Shares in Tesla traded 2.3% lower at 187 during the broadly weaker session for tech stocks on Wednesday. Oof. Brutal. Tesla stock removed from Wedbush best ideas list over Twitter train wreck disaster. Tesla stock was removed from Wedbush's best ideas list on Thursday, with analyst Dan Ives citing overhang from chief executive's entanglement with Twitter Inc. In what has been a dark comedy show with Twitter, Musk has essentially tarnished the Tesla stock story and is starting to potentially impact the Tesla brand with its ongoing Twitter train wreck, Ives wrote in a note to clients. From selling Tesla stocks again and again to the PR nightmare that Twitter has become, cutting 50% of employees and then needing to bring some back, Musk's attention focused from Tesla to Twitter, and ultimately the fear that this Twitter lightning rod of controversy on a daily, almost hourly basis starts to negatively change the Tesla brand globally. Tesla is Musk, Ives wrote, and it has made him the richest man in the world. Tesla is the golden child of his empire, and he's changed that interesting side note. The reason why Tesla is in that state isn't so much because of the cars they sell, it's because of the carbon offsets they sell. They have, because of the nature of their company as an EV manufacturer, they have end up having a tremendous amount of carbon offsets that they could sell to other corporations, and those corporations can then use the carbon offsets that they purchase from Tesla to basically continue to operate in the polluting manner that they do, while still being able to pretend like they're doing something positive for the environment. There's a great breakdown. John Oliver did a great breakdown on why selling carbon offsets is bullshit, but that's how Tesla actually makes the lion's share of its money. It's not by selling 300,000 Teslas a year. Tesla is the golden child of his empire, and he's changed the auto world much in the way that Apple's iPhone changed phones, but now he's managed to do what short sellers tried and failed, to crush Tesla stock despite the EV company being in a position of strength. I've said he still believes in the EV story as a longer-term play, but Tesla's roughly 25% sell-off since the Twitter deal is an agonizing cycle for investors to navigate and has put massive pressure on the stock as its boy who cried wolf narrative shaping up. Ives is sticking with his outperform rating on Tesla stock, but lowered his price target to 250 from 300 to reflect the overhang. Tesla was slightly higher pre-market, but is down 50% in the year to date, while the S&P 500 has fallen 21%. So yes, what Elon Musk is doing with Twitter is having a demonstrably negative effect on Tesla. That's the story to look out for. And again, like Ives cites it himself, like a lot of this is caused by Elon Musk's own behavior, his behavior on Twitter, in addition to the business decisions he makes on Twitter, such as allowing everybody to just have a check mark, scaring away advertisers, and having to constantly, try to reassure people that there is moderation. Moderation is actually occurring, while at the same time, actually physically laughing, like putting laughing emojis in responses to scam tweets, like people like the Nintendo one, or the Joe Biden, rubbing his dick one, like he responding to that in a manner that shows that he's not taking it as seriously as advertisers might want him to take it, as investors might want him to take it. Like all of that creates that instability that damages Twitter, which in turn damages Tesla, which in turn damages the Tesla brand. So like all of this is connected in a way that could be completely disastrous to Elon Musk. And I have to imagine he knows this, but he's also on the hook for a $44 billion purchase, like I think he's in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, and he's just too dumb to recognize that he can't lolcow his way out of it. Elon Musk says Twitter bankruptcy not out of the question as more top execs leave, reports. Twitter's new owner, Elon Musk, laid out a dire financial forecast late Thursday, saying the social media company could lose billions of dollars and that bankruptcy cannot be ruled out, according to multiple reports. Musk held an impromptu all-hands meeting Thursday afternoon, hours after sending a company-wide email warning of difficult times ahead and ordering the end of Twitter's work-from-anywhere policy. So that's what precipitated a lot of the consternation with whether or not, he's using this announcement to bury the lead, which is that the CEO of like content moderation or whatever his actual title was left the company. They'll probably get to that later here in the article. According to the information, Musk told Twitter employees at the all hands that the company could lose, quote, several $1 billion next year, and said bankruptcy is not out of the question. Earlier this week, Musk disclosed nearly $4 billion in recent sales of his Tesla shares. On Thursday, Musk said that was done to, quote, save Twitter, according to the New York Times. Additionally, 2 of Twitter's last remaining top executives were said to be leaving the company. Yoel Roth, Twitter's head of trust and safety, and Robin Wheeler, the head of ad sales, are out, according to the report by The Verge. Both appeared in a Twitter Spaces meeting earlier this week to try to assuage advertisers' concerns. That's a bad look. That is a bad look when you have the head of trust and safety and the head of ad sales in Twitter Spaces trying to assuage advertisers' concerns, and then, a couple days later, they're both out of the company. What do you think that's gonna do to those advertisers' concerns? Musk reportedly said the company's future largely rests with the success of Twitter Blue. Oh my God. Oh, that's not good. Largely rests with the success of Twitter Blue, which this week started awarding blue check marks to users who pay $8 a month, creating immediate havoc with fake accounts impersonating verified users. There's also other things that he's talking about with what he wants Twitter Blue to be, including potentially just paywalling the entire app, the entire site. Like, you want to use Twitter, you got to pay. Otherwise, you just see like a splash screen that says, please pay. Like going that extreme, or still allowing you to use it, but your content is immediately buried by people who pay. So all of the verified check marks, all of their stuff is immediately on the top. And if you want to see posts from people that aren't paying, you're going to have to scroll down a list or maybe even click onto a different tab. I don't know how that's going to work, but he's basically just trying to find ways to, incentivize people to pay for the Blue service. And, it might end up being as stringent as $8 to log in. And, if it's $8 to log in, I'm wondering how many people stick around for that. I've already known several people that have been like talking about stuff like Mastodon. I don't know anything about Mastodon. I haven't looked at it. Maybe I will. I don't know. Like, I'm not paying $8. If it comes to that, like if it's like, hey, you got to log in and pay $8 to like use your Twitter, to continue using your Twitter account, then I'll definitely just go somewhere else. There's no way this dude's getting my money. But I always thought that these guys were making money selling everyone's data anyways. What's going on with that? Like, why aren't you making money selling everyone's data? It's like, so what? You're capturing everybody's sensitive personal information and you're not making money on it even? So what are you doing with it? You're just keeping it in a store? Like, I don't get what's going on there then. Like, why capture everyone's data? Like the whole adage of like free to use social media is like, if you don't have to pay for it, then you're the product. That's the whole point of it. If you don't have to pay for the service, then you are the product. So, I guess this is an indictment on all of us. We just aren't a valuable product anymore. Musk also reiterated his return to work order earlier in the day. If you can physically make it to an office and you don't show up, resignation accepted. And that's another thing, is like the dude, he just communicates like a dickhead. Like, there are ways to communicate this out to your already like shaky workforce without being a complete and total cunt about it. And it's like, why? Why just go out of your way to be a cunt? Why go out of your way to be like, oh, if you don't show up, then resignation accepted? Like, he's trying to be like this hard ass brash, like, I don't take mess from anyone. It's like, fuck you, dude. I think everybody at Twitter should just stop working. Just don't show up. Fine, don't show up. Just crash it. Just burn the whole damn thing to the ground. I don't care. If I log on to Twitter tomorrow and it's like the service is not available, I wouldn't care. I mean, there are a few people I wouldn't be able to communicate with regularly anymore. I could probably find ways to reach out to them still, but I wouldn't sweat it. I wouldn't sweat it at all. And some people would just go someplace else. They would go to Mastodon, or they would go to any of these other social media apparatuses that nobody knows about right now, but they would quickly learn about it, via word of mouth, or they would learn about it on Instagram, or they would learn about it on Facebook, They would learn about it on TikTok, honestly. Like, hey, everybody's going to blank. You'd see those TikToks pop up, and then something else will eventually fill the void that a collapsed Twitter, had left behind. So I'm all for collapsing the platform, especially if it means putting this asshole in his place. Oh man, and it is starting. I feel like it's starting to affect other avenues of Tesla's business. It's not just Twitter. This is affecting Tesla as well. Tesla cancels solar projects en masse, scales back solar division. Tesla has canceled solar projects en masse across the U.S. as the company says that it is shutting down its solar operations in some markets. After years of its solar business slowing down since acquiring it through taking over Solar City in 2016, I remember that, Tesla's solar division was finally getting some momentum over the last few quarters. Tesla has achieved a record U.S. residential solar deployment in Q2 2022. Last quarter, Tesla also had strong performance with 94 megawatts of solar power deployed, up 13% year over year. However, the momentum was not without issue as Tesla had to stop scheduling solar roof projects in most markets in Q3. The automaker focused on deploying the product on new construction projects like a large one in Austin. The world's first Tesla solar neighborhood is becoming a reality in Austin, where Tesla is deploying solar roofs and Powerwall at a brand new development. Last year, Tesla signed a breakthrough deal to deploy solar roofs and Powerwalls on a large scale at a new community in Austin, Texas. The project is in partnership with Brookfield Asset Management and DACRA, and where they are offering Tesla solar roofs and Powerwalls as packages on brand new houses in a new 12,000 home development project called Easton Park. Oh God, I can't even begin to imagine how obnoxiously expensive the houses there are going to be. But the thing is, like, this is a smart play because when the 2021 freeze happened, like, everybody after the thaw, people ran out and started buying generators wherever they could. Gas generators, like gasoline powered generators, or generators that ran off of natural gas if they owned their homes. If they A, owned their homes, B, had natural gas lines to their homes, and C, had the money and could afford to spend installing a $5,000 natural gas powered generator. If all of those three conditions were met, they bought those generators. Otherwise, people were buying gasoline generators at Home Depot or ordering them at Amazon because they did not want to be in a situation again where it gets cold and the Texas potato wire power grid collapses and all of a sudden everyone's freezing in their house for a week again. So it makes sense. Like the solar, both the solar panels and the Powerwall, like, what the Powerwall will do for you is once that city grid goes down, your house switches to get energy from your what's stored on your Powerwall, so you don't lose power. So provided that it's properly charged. Which, if it's being fed from your solar panels, then yeah, it'll be properly charged. So yeah, it's an awesome investment for anyone that's living in Texas with our unreliable power grid, and I'm sure that's a part of what they were using to sell it too. Now we learn that Tesla is canceling many solar projects, including some at advanced stages, and the company is saying that it's shutting down operations in some markets. Over the last 3 days, Electric has received half a dozen reports from Tesla solar customers who have been informed that the company would not be moving forward with their projects and canceling the order. The customers all received this email from Tesla this week. Thank you for your interest in Tesla Solar. Upon further review of your project, our team has determined that your home is in an area we no longer service. As we cannot complete your order, we processed your cancellation. You will receive a full refund of any collected deposits within 7 to 10 business days to the card on file. Oh man, that's brutal. That's brutal because there's a lot of other stuff that goes into like getting panels installed on your ceiling. Like, you're spending money on permits and shit too. This includes customers who had solar panels or solar roofs on order, and even some projects that were already designed and permitted. Based on social media checks, hundreds of Tesla customers are likely in this situation. In the email, Tesla writes that it is no longer servicing the areas where those customers are located. We have received reports from customers in major solar markets, including the greater Los Angeles area, Northern California, Oregon, and Florida. They aren't servicing areas in Florida and LA? Those are like the sunniest places. The fact that Tesla wouldn't be covering those areas would be a significant change of strategy, as the company has previously talked about only expanding its solar division. Electric also learned that Tesla has laid off a number of employees in its solar scheduling, planning, and design department. In an email to customers, Tesla refers them to Tesla certified installers in their area. Oh, Tesla certified installers. We previously reported on Tesla's certified installer program. It started with roofing companies trained to install Tesla's solar roof, but lately Tesla has also certified solar panel installers to deploy the company's Tesla energy ecosystem. Electric's take. Considering the cancellations referring to third-party installers and the layoffs in its own solar planning department, it looks like Tesla might be calling back its own solar installations and instead plan to supply third-party installers. This would be a significant change in strategy, and one of those bits of news where I'd love to reach out to Tesla and ask what is happening. But, Tesla doesn't need a press relations department, according to Elon Musk. Oh, God, they don't even have a PR department? That makes 1,000% sense that Elon Musk would say that Tesla doesn't need a PR department. In the meantime, that's a part of probably why they lost that lawsuit, from those accusations of racism at their factories in California. In the meantime, it's not a good look for Tesla to leave customers who spent time and even money on moving these projects forward, and now they are back to square one. That is a huge dick move. You're leaving all these people who have already been doing permitting and shit and ordering the panels and paying all this money. You're just saying fuck off to them. Fuck you. Figure it out on your own. Damn, that sucks. And they're laying people off in their solar department. This has to be a result of just panic from Tesla being drugged down via Twitter, panic from Elon Musk selling $4 billion worth of shares, and what that's going to mean for the business's own value. I wonder how much, and it seems like it doesn't seem like the Austin neighborhood is affected by this, but I wonder just exactly how many other municipalities that these people have been operating in. I wonder how much government work, they're getting for their paneling. Honestly, that's really what should happen is Elon Musk should crush Twitter as much as possible and then sell it to the federal government. The federal government should just buy Tesla, to be perfectly honest. And then they should just take over deploying all of these solar panels and power walls everywhere that a solar panel and power wall could be deployed. Just use the federal revenue to do what is necessary, what is absolutely necessary. All right, and phasing a little bit out of the Elon Musk Tesla Twitter talk, we have this EV Roundup, which talks about some of Tesla's competitors. Speaking with Dina earlier about all of the other options that EV curious people have available to them now. We've got some updates on at least two of them. Tesla Bull throws in the towel. NIO, which I have not heard of. This reminds me of when I first started doing this stream and I would be talking about EVs. There would always be some EV company that popped up and I would be like, I've never heard of them. I'd have to Google them. And sure enough, their CEO was under SEC investigation for a pump and dump. I doubt NIO is in that boat, but I may as well look them up and see who they are before I read this article on them. Okay, that looks like a car. NIO ET7, the ET5, which also looks like a car. Actually, it kind of looks like the new Nissan Z a little bit. All of these close-ups don't really give us a good look on what they actually look like. They're just zooming around all over. Okay, here we go. Oh, I see. No, that's not a bad looking car. Looks like a car. They just kind of look like Mazdas or something. I'm sure they don't want to hear that comparison. God knows how much they're selling these cars for. But where did NIO come from? Like, where did these guys come from? Here we go. Oh, they're Chinese. Okay. NIO is a Chinese multinational automobile manufacturer headed in Shanghai, specializing in designing and developing electric vehicles. The company is known for its development of battery swapping stations for its vehicles as an alternative to conventional charging stations. Well, isn't that interesting? That's got to be bad for the environment, though, to just full on fucking swap out your battery. I mean, that does solve the problem that I was positing before about, you know, having to go to a station or a charging port and sit there for 30 minutes or so waiting for your car to charge. You know, I guess you wouldn't have to do that if you just go to a place and you're like, take the old battery out, pop the new battery in. But, you know, I guess it depends on what those batteries can charge. So if you take the old battery out, pop the new battery in, then that old battery is just going to get charged and the next person's going to come by and pick them up and put them in. So I guess there would be a lot of recycling in that ecosystem. I actually like that idea. I actually like that idea a lot. I think that would probably be a better solution than you know, plugging the damn thing in and sitting there for 30 minutes. Huh. All right, NIO. Obviously, these guys aren't selling cars in America. I can't imagine. I've never heard of it. Maybe they are, though. Maybe they plan to. Maybe they plan to sell a car in America. Let's see. So the first story is about Ives. We've already talked at length about his comments. Tesla stock being run into the ground. Another EV contender to Tesla, Rivian. Rivian shares jump despite mixed earnings report. Rivian shares are jumping higher here, along with the broader market, following a mixed earnings report. For the quarter, Rivian reported revenue of $536 million versus $561 million. Adjusted EPS $1.57 versus $1.86. However, the company said it would still hit its 25,000 annual production forecast, meaning it will have to produce around 10,600 vehicles in the fourth quarter to hit that goal. Rivian also disclosed it had 114,000 pre-orders for its R1 vehicles. I've seen a few of those Rivian trucks on the road here, and they look sweet. I like them. I did some videos on them on the channel way back in the day, and I liked them then, but seeing them in person, they actually do look pretty handsome. Though the company burned through cash in the quarter, it still sees a $5.4 billion adjusted. I don't even know what the fuck that acronym means. EBITDA loss for the year. CEO RJ Scaringe was confident that the company was in good financial position. We have a strong balance sheet with $14 billion in cash that offers us the flexibility to navigate these uncertain economic times and look for capital-efficient methods to drive growth, Scaringe said. Looking ahead to the future, Rivian pushed back the launch of its R2 vehicles to 2026, with the opening of its new factory in Georgia happening in 2025. All right, so Rivian's on the move. They're closing the gap. They've got some good numbers, even though, yeah, the economy comes for us all, and it looks like it may be affecting them a bit too. But, you know, again, like as these companies rise, I don't think NIO is a overseas competitor to Tesla. So whatever Tesla is doing in the Chinese market or the Euro market, they'll have to worry about NIO over there more than they do over here. But I mean, that's the concern for a global company. I mean, a global tarnish of the brand. A tarnish of the brand tarnishes the brand globally. So we'll see. We'll see how Tesla responds to all of that. Hey everybody, thanks for watching the video. If you liked what you just saw, hit the like. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. I'd appreciate it if you did both. They would be very good for the channel and help me build the community here. If you have any kind of comments or opinions or anything like that, by all means, drop them in the comments section below. I like engaging with y'all, want to do more of that. So thank you again and see you next time.